Canada's energy sector is seeing another major shift as companies reposition themselves to focus on high-growth assets amid ongoing debates over energy development, investment, and Canada's role in global resource markets. One of the latest moves comes from Tamarack Valley Energy, which recently announced a significant asset sale as it sharpens its focus on Alberta's Clearwater region. To help break down what this deal means for the company, investors, and the broader oil and gas industry, I'm now joined by Brendan Caldwell, Director of Caldwell Securities Limited. Brendan, thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you, Theresa, because I'm pretty sure this one's going to not go well with my 20-something kids, because Tamarack Valley is a significant investment of ours in a couple of our strategies. So, well, let's do this anyway.
Well, Tamarack Valley Energy announced a major sale of Charlie Lake oil assets. What does this mean for Tamarack and Canadian investors?
Well, it's been very good for Tamarack. The market response has been very positive. What everyone believes about the future of fossil fuels, my own view is that they will more or less be extinct as the dinosaurs that created them. I know oil isn't from dinosaurs, but you understand my meaning. But it will be extinct within a generation. But between here and there, I would much rather see Canada benefit from the energy extraction that can be done, because we will do it better and cleaner than most of the rest of the world. I would say almost all the rest of the world. With Tamarack in specific, the reason the market's responded so well is that it will shift the focus of the company to being a pure play in what's called the Clearwater region, to which I'm pretty sure my youngest will say, well, it won't be very clear for long, will it, Dad? The Clearwater region in northern Alberta, which is heavy oil. It's been there apparently about 100 million years since the Cretaceous period. And it's relatively easy to get that oil out. So they've sold some longer term, less productive assets and have shifted into being a pure play in this Clearwater region up in northern Alberta, with assets that have a fairly quick return on investment, as little as 6 months or a year to get much of their investment back. So it's been a good move for them. I think the tricky part is what comes next for Canada, but maybe we'll chat about that in a minute.
And why is Alberta Clearwater choosing Tamarack, and why are they focusing on that?
Oh, why the area? Why the Clearwater? Oh, just again, from a company point of view, investors will tend to pay more when they can say this thing is a thing. It does this thing. It gets oil from this type of deposit, or even in another area, in any other area of the business. If you can say that you do one thing, you're what they call a pure play, the market will typically pay something of a premium for that. The opposite is the holding company discount. When you do a whole bunch of different things, the market rarely adds them all up and gives you a premium because, look, this company does 18 different things well. Rather, they tend to count as though you do 7 or 8 things, not 18. Whereas you do one thing really well, people can say, this is what this is, and they get their brain around it. So just the becoming a pure play helps the company from that point of view. But then to have this heavy oil asset, it's relatively shallow, much closer to the surface than, say, the oil sands deposit in Fort McMurray, so that it's not nearly as expensive to get it out of the ground, and it can be done by pumping water into it to force the oil out, and it can be fairly consistent flow that will produce a fairly predictable cash flow for the company. It allows the company to buy back its stock, to increase its dividends, do all the things that investors like. So for Tamarack, by becoming a pure play in a high cash generating asset, it's good because it helps the company with a whole bunch of different aspects of checking the boxes that investors like.
Now, I want to talk about the Canadian oil and gas sector as a whole. What can the Canadian government do to actually help support Canadian oil and gas companies?
Well, you can stop hating on it quite so much. I think, I mean, an issue that we've had for north of a decade is a disgust, a contempt for Alberta and Saskatchewan and the energy they produce. Um, the Eastern Canadian politicians have not really had much time or patience for it, despite the fact it is our single largest natural resource export by a long chalk, and generates a tremendous amount of revenue. It's this contempt that the rest of Canada has had for what Alberta produces is a large part of what's behind Alberta separatism at this point. The imaginings, I think they're not well founded, but the imaginings that some people in Alberta have that they would be better off and better able to grow and make use of their resources if they didn't have the federal government breathing down their necks. I'm not sure that's true any more than Brexit was good for the United Kingdom. I don't think separation either from Alberta or Quebec would be a good thing. That's a side issue. I think what the federal government could do is at least use its power to make it so that energy flows to tidewater, flows to the oceans. At the moment, the vast majority of our pipelines run north-south, making us very dependent on the United States, something that I think most Canadians are not as comfortable being as we have been in the past, and that may be an understatement. So I don't think this resource, fossil fuels, lasts more than a generation as a way to power the world. But at the moment, it's still the main way that the world gets powered. And if we are going to capitalize on it, if we're going to build a sovereign wealth fund, as our prime minister would like to do, I think we need to do the best we can in this generation to make the most of the assets we have that are relevant today.
And Prime Minister Mark Carney was recently quoted saying that he would not leverage Canadian national resources on the international stage. Should Canada be willing to treat its resources as a strategic asset?
Oh, I'm trying to find a more TV friendly way to say straight we should. Um, we have we have a we have tremendous resources in this country. It's a blessing and a curse. Countries with lots of natural resources tend to exploit them till there's nothing left for the benefit of the few over the many. Norway would be an opposite example of that. They built a $1.5 trillion sovereign wealth fund that has paid for that country to do so many things, to punch above its weight in so many areas, from social policy to the Olympics, because they reinvested back in their country with the, if you want to believe, ill-gotten gains of natural resources, so be it. What Canada did over the last generation or two has been to spend all our money and run massive deficits.